This video and others like it are funded by viewers like you. Thanks for your support. This story is about a gringo who's behind the arrest of 13 foreign pedophiles in Medellin, Colombia. Let's jump into it. Follow along. Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're located. Thanks for watching. You're watching DC Born Rob Racing Borders. I'm DC Rob. This story is not going to be sanitized. I think this is something that you need to hear. Thanks to Luis for this share and for the share of all the others too. Sometimes I forget to give him props for it. But let's just jump into this story. He does not consider himself a vigilante, but he did come from the United States to defend minors who have been the victims of his compatriots and other foreigners. Tyler Schwab, representative of the NGO Libertas International, stated that in Medellin alone, 85 minors under 18 years of age, most of them in vulnerable conditions, have been violated by foreigners, and their work has allowed them to capture 13 of them, in addition to comprehensive work with the victims. He works together with the Directorate of the Protection of Special Services, DPRO, of the National Police, the Attorney General's Office, and the Special Interagency Investigations Group, HSI, and ICE of the United States. Their main work is to provide support to the victims of these foreigners who believe that in Colombia the law does not exist for them due to their status as visitors. It all started in 2019 when he received a call to attend to the criminal child pornography network led by an American, Victor Galarza. A man called me saying that he had a girl who needed support, and I came to Medellin to help her. From that moment on, I kept working on these issues, explained Tyler, who consistently travels between the United States and Colombia. The achievements of the binational foundation and the authorities quickly led to the capture of the pedophile network led by Victor Galarza, who was captured that same year. Months later, one of his greatest allies in the business, Herbert Fletcher, fell. Both were sentenced to between 2022 and 2023 and are currently serving their sentences of 17 years for Galarza and 7 for Fletcher. From then on, victims of the foreign tourists began to appear en masse in Medellin, revealing a phenomenon of sexual exploitation that increases as more tourists arrived in Medellin. Last year, Medellin received 1.7 million visitors. Obviously, this is a minority of criminals who mix among the thousands of tourists who arrive in the capital of Paisa. There is a network of pedophiles. Although most of these visitors did not have any direct link between them, Tyler and the professionals from his foundation claimed to have knowledge of a network that would be responsible not only for distributing underage content, but also for giving instructions on how to get the girls, to exploit them sexually. We have a group in which they simply walk the streets looking for girls through social networks, mainly in the most vulnerable areas, but we also find groups of pedophiles where information about minors is shared, contacts are made, and from there they begin to commit these crimes, explained the American. One of those cases occurred at the beginning of this month inside an apartment in the La Floresta neighborhood, east of Medellin, where the authorities capped Dominic DeFincenzo after they surprised him with at least 8 complaints of child abuse in this place. He had many friends and was very active on social media. So much so that when he requested the services of a domestic worker, he really knew that the purpose was mainly because he liked to abuse girls. But it is being investigated whether there are pimping networks for Colombia, led by some criminal structures, which would be in charge of exploiting minors to deliver them to these pedophiles with the complicity of apartment owners and managers of commercial establishments. We found out in this case of the alias El Chemical, Richard Opolinski, that he rented the apartment and had been there for a year. There were so many irregularities that the neighbors reported and that the owners ignored. He also spent time in nightclubs and other establishments where they simply ignored the crimes they were committing. So there was a complicity, he noted. Aberrations. In the midst of the investigations to find the whereabouts of these foreigners, not content with committing these abuses against these minors, they also used to drug them and even abuse people with disabilities. The profile of the victims he was looking for were very young, very vulnerable girls, including one who had a mother with a mental disability. He contacted her and she believed it was a job to support her family's expenses. And when she came out of it, he told her that she couldn't pay him and that she should do things to him. He didn't let her get out of it. She was a very small girl, very skinny, weighing 60 pounds, the investigator said about one of these cases. He also said that the youngest of all of these victims he met was just 19 months old. She would have been recorded and raped by the Mexican lawyer Hector Rocher Salas and the American police agent Ahmed Bahari, both captured for this fact, and was the mother of the minor who also exploited her and her two children, aged 7 and 9. There are stories from each of these foreigners who, for the most part, have clean resumes in their countries, where they pretend to be wolves in sheep's clothing, says Tyler. In most cases in the United States or other countries, they pose as exemplary people, and some of them are simply inconsequential. However, when they arrive in Colombia, they seem to lose control, he added. The average age of these victims of these events is under 15 years old, mostly women. However, children under 2 years of age have been found, in addition to the child under 19 months already mentioned. Brands for life. The actions of these criminals have not only left psychological marks, but also physical marks, some of them for life. They are intentional ones, as occurred with the case of Haven Case III, who used to not only rape minors, but also forced them to tattoo his name in order to comply with them and agreed for money, which he had to invest in the procedure so that the tattoos could be erased, Tyler explained. On the other hand, there are medical consequences. Some of the girls have been found affected with venereal diseases such as syphilis, gonorrhea, and herpes. All received medical treatment. Finally, there are those who ended up pregnant after the rapes. According to Libertas International, of all the victims, 4 became pregnant and 3 gave birth. Some stayed with them and others preferred to give them up for adoption, she says without providing more details. The most delicate thing about this situation is the list is still extensive, and they are looking for another 20 foreigners around the world accused of coming to Medellin mainly to abuse minors instead of doing tourism. One of them is a renowned businessman who visits several countries and of whom we already have important information for his capture, and we hope to obtain results in the coming days, said the researcher of this NGO. But Tyler's work, in addition to seeking justice for these minors, also involves recovering that life that the criminals, wanting to give free rein to their lowest instincts, took from them. Sanctions for foreign sexual abusers. Criminal sanctions for foreigners who commit any type of sexual abuse against minors can carry a sentence of between 12 and 20 years in prison. If there are aggravating factors in this crime, there can be up to 30 years. Everything that has to do with children is that they do not have any of the benefits, which means that the sentence will be paid in full in prison, explained criminal lawyer Ivan Durango. When asked if this person is captured in the United States and can serve his sentence in North American territory, the lawyer pointed out that if he commits the crime in Colombia, he must respond in Colombia due to the principle of the territory. Despite international treaties, we have the principle of sovereignty, he added. Furthermore, Tyler Schwab assured that I prefer that they be punished in Colombia and not in the United States because the sentences are more drastic for this crime. Again, this is not a pretty story, but I wanted to tell it. I think you just need to hear it. So for those who stayed to the end, thank you for listening. Pass this information on because there's some sickos there. And again, we are following those who come before us. Anyway, have a great day. Remember to travel, but travel safe.
On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant day.
Okay, hold on, guys. Right quick. If you need to have things shipped to Colombia, shipped to someone else, or shipped to yourself to Colombia from the United States, make sure you reach out to CaribbeanShipper.com. CaribbeanShipper.com. The contact information is coming next. Join me on social media. I am DC Born Rob Official on Instagram. I am DC Born Rob Official 1 on TikTok. I am DC Born Rob O on Twitter. Don't be like this guy right here.
You're just so stupid. I had to send you a video to let you know you're so stupid.
That's right. Don't be like this guy right here. Join me on social media. Headed to Medellin, Colombia? See my guy Andres with Nomad Travel for safe airport pickups and drop-offs and tours. Contact information in the description below. If you're in Medellin and you need dental work done, from a basic cleaning to major reconstructive surgery, come see my guy, Dr. Carlos Maury. Contact information in the description below.
Thanks for hitting like. You did the right thing by hitting like. Thanks for hitting like. Thanks for hitting like. DC Born Rob.